The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the sleek, silver spacecraft. Its name, Zephyr, glowed softly on its hull, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Inside, a team of alien explorers from the planet Salax worked tirelessly, their eyes glued to screens filled with data from countless stars and planets. Captain Zara, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms, stood at the helm. Her large violet eyes scanned the main view screen, searching for any sign of the anomaly that had brought them to this remote corner of the Milky Way galaxy. "Anything yet, Crix?" she asked, her voice a melodious trill. Crix, the ship's sensor operator, shook his bulbous head. His tentacles waved in frustration as he replied, "Nothing, Captain. The signal is still too weak to pinpoint." Zara nodded, her antenna twitching with barely contained excitement. They had been chasing this mysterious signal for over a year now, following its faint trail across the stars. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered before, a repeating pattern that spoke of intelligence, yet was completely alien to their vast databases. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Crix's tentacles flew over his console as he shouted, "Captain, the signal just increased in strength by 500%. Location," Zara demanded, all 4 of her hands gripping the arms of her command chair. "It's coming from a small solar system just ahead," Crix replied, his eyes wide with wonder. "Third planet from the star." Zara's mandibles clicked with excitement. "Take us in, helm. Slow and steady." As the Zephyr approached the solar system, the crew's excitement grew. They had explored hundreds of systems over the years, but never had they encountered a signal quite like this. It spoke of advanced technology, perhaps even a civilization more advanced than their own. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Before them, a yellow star burned brightly, its planets mere specks in the distance, but it was the third planet that drew their attention. A blue and white marble suspended in space. "Life signs?" Zara asked, leaning forward in her seat. The ship's biologist, a small furry creature named Lox, shook her head. "No active life signs, Captain. But the planet's atmosphere is rich in oxygen. There's water too. Lots of it." Zara frowned. A planet perfect for life, yet no life signs. It didn't make sense. "Take us closer," she ordered. As the Zephyr entered orbit around the blue planet, the crew gasped in collective awe. The world below was beautiful, a patchwork of green and brown landmasses surrounded by vast oceans. But something was off. "Captain," Crix called out, his voice trembling. "I'm detecting massive structures on the surface. Cities, Captain. Abandoned cities." The view screen zoomed in on one of these structures, a towering spire of metal and glass, now overgrown with vegetation. It was clear that no one had lived here for a very long time. "How old?" Zara whispered, her antenna drooping in shock. Lox ran some quick calculations, based on the decay rates and overgrowth. "At least 500,000 years, Captain." The crew fell silent, the magnitude of their discovery sinking in. They had found the remains of an ancient advanced civilization, but where had they gone? And why had they left behind such a paradise? "The signal," Zara said suddenly. "Can we trace it to its source?" Crix nodded, his tentacles dancing over his console. "Yes, Captain. It's coming from the planet's moon." All eyes turned to the small gray satellite orbiting the blue world. What secrets did it hold? What mysteries waited to be uncovered? "Prepare a landing party," Zara ordered, standing up. "We're going down there. Whatever happened here, whatever civilization called this place home, they left something behind. And we're going to find out what it is." As the crew rushed to prepare for their descent, Zara stared at the blue planet on the view screen. In all her years of exploration, she had never felt so small, so humbled. They had come seeking new life, new civilizations. Instead, they had found a ghost, the echoes of a people long gone, yet still reaching out across time and space. What had happened to the beings who had once called this world home? And more importantly, what had they left behind on that lonely moon? As the landing shuttle prepared for launch, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover something that would change their understanding of the universe forever. The adventure had only just begun. The alien landing shuttle touched down on Earth's surface with a soft thud. Captain Zora was the first to step out, her forearms spread wide to maintain balance in the unfamiliar gravity. The air was thick and rich with oxygen, almost intoxicating after months in the recycled atmosphere of the Zephyr. "It's beautiful," whispered Lox, the furry biologist, as she emerged from the shuttle. Her large eyes blinked rapidly, adjusting to the bright sunlight filtering through the lush canopy above. The landing site was once a city square, now overgrown with vegetation. Crumbling buildings peeked through the greenery, their once smooth surfaces etched by time and weather. The aliens moved cautiously, their steps echoing in the eerie silence. Crix, his tentacles waving nervously, scanned the area with a handheld device. "Captain," he called out, "I'm detecting residual energy signatures. They're faint, but they're everywhere." Zara nodded, her antenna twitching with excitement. "Split up," she ordered. "Search for any clues about what happened here. But be careful. We don't know what kind of dangers might still exist." The alien team spread out, each member exploring a different section of the ancient city. Lox found herself drawn to a large building with ornate pillars. As she approached, she noticed strange symbols carved into the stone. "Captain," she called out, "I think I've found some kind of writing." The team gathered around, studying the unfamiliar script. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, yet it clearly conveyed intelligence and complexity. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. The aliens stumbled, struggling to maintain their balance as the earth shook violently. "Earthquake?" Crix asked, his voice quivering with fear. But Zara's eyes were fixed on a spot in the center of the square. The ground there was opening. A circular section of the pavement slid away, revealing a dark hole beneath. "No," Zara said, her voice filled with awe. "It's a door." As the rumbling subsided, the aliens cautiously approached the opening. A set of stairs led down into darkness. Without hesitation, Zora activated her suit's lights and began to descend. The stairway seemed to go on forever, spiraling deep into the earth. The air grew cooler, and strange symbols lined the walls, glowing faintly in the darkness. Finally, they reached the bottom. Before them stood a massive metal door, its surface unmarred by time. In the center was a small panel with a handprint outline. "It's some kind of lock," Crix observed, his tentacles reaching out to examine the panel. Zara stepped forward, her four hands clenched in determination. "We've come too far to turn back now," she said. She placed one of her hands on the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a hiss of escaping air, the door began to slide open. The room beyond was bathed in a soft blue light. Banks of computers lined the walls, their screens flickering to life as the aliens entered. And in the center of the room stood a hologram of a being they had never seen before. Tall, bipedal, with 2 arms and a round head. "Welcome," the hologram said, its voice echoing in the cavernous space. "I am the Custodian, the last remnant of human civilization on Earth." The aliens stood in stunned silence, their minds racing to process this revelation. Humans, so that's what they were called. "What happened to your people?" Zara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The hologram's expression seemed to sadden. "It is a long and complex tale," it said, "but I will tell you what I can." As the Custodian began its story, the aliens listened in rapt attention. They learned of humanity's great achievements, their triumphs and their struggles. They heard tales of wars that scared the planet, of technological marvels that reshaped reality itself. And then came the final chapter, the story of humanity's disappearance. In the end, the Custodian said, It was not war or disaster that led to our departure. It was curiosity. Humanity had conquered the stars, but that was not enough. They yearned to explore beyond the boundaries of our universe. The hologram waved its hand, and suddenly the room was filled with images of strange machines and swirling portals. They found a way to travel between dimensions, the custodian continued. And 500,000 years ago, they left this reality behind to explore the multiverse. The aliens stood in awe, their minds struggling to comprehend the magnitude of this revelation. Humans hadn't just been an advanced civilization, they had transcended the very fabric of reality itself. As the implications of this discovery began to sink in, Zara realized that their mission had just become far more complex than they could have ever imagined. The mystery of humanity's fate was solved, but a new, even greater mystery now lay before them. What wonders and what dangers awaited in the dimensions beyond their own? And would they, like the humans before them, be brave enough to find out? Captain Zara and her alien crew stood in awe before the holographic custodian. The blue light of the AI flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls of the underground bunker. The revelation that humans had left to explore other dimensions was still sinking in. "Tell us more," Zara said, her four hands clasped tightly together. "How did humans achieve such incredible technology?" The custodian's holographic form shifted, and suddenly the room was filled with images of human history. The aliens watched in fascination as scenes of early civilization gave way to modern cities, space exploration, and finally, mind-bending physics experiments. Humanity's journey was long and often difficult, the AI explained, its voice echoing in the cavernous room. They faced many challenges, wars, disasters, and the limits of their own biology. But they never stopped pushing forward. Lox, the furry biologist, raised a paw. "Did they change themselves?" she asked hesitantly. The custodian nodded. Indeed, as their technology advanced, humans began to merge with their machines. They enhanced their bodies and minds, extending their lifespans and increasing their intelligence. The aliens exchanged nervous glances. The idea of merging with technology was both fascinating and frightening to them. "But why leave?" Crix asked, his tentacles waving in confusion. "Why abandon such a beautiful world?" The AI's expression seemed to soften. "Curiosity," it said simply. Humans had always looked to the stars, wondering what lay beyond. When they discovered the existence of other dimensions, they couldn't resist the call to explore. New images appeared, showing strange machines and swirling portals of energy. The aliens watched as holographic humans stepped through these portals, vanishing in flashes of light. They prepared for centuries, the custodian continued, building great ships capable of traversing the void between realities. When the time came, most of humanity chose to leave, seeking new adventures and knowledge beyond our universe. Zara's antenna twitched with excitement. And those who stayed behind? The AI's light dimmed slightly. There were some who chose to remain, to watch over Earth and preserve human knowledge. But as millennia passed, even they departed, leaving only automated systems like myself to guard humanity's legacy. The alien captain felt a wave of sadness wash over her. To think of an entire civilization, so advanced and full of promise, choosing to leave everything behind. "What of their achievements? Their culture?" she asked. In response, the custodian waved its holographic hand. Suddenly, the walls of the bunker came alive with information. Star charts, scientific formulas, art, music, and literature. The entire history and knowledge of humanity displayed before them. All of this, the AI said, I have been programmed to share with any sentient species that proves worthy. You show intelligence, curiosity, and compassion, qualities that humans valued highly. Their legacy is now yours to explore. The aliens were overwhelmed. The sheer volume of information was staggering. Centuries of human achievement laid out for them to study and learn from. But that's not all. The custodian added, its voice taking on a tone of excitement. humanity left behind more than just knowledge. They also left gifts. With another wave of its hand, a section of the bunker's wall slid open, revealing a long, dark corridor. "Follow me," the AI said, its holographic form gliding towards the opening. "There's something you need to see." As the alien crew cautiously followed the custodian down the corridor, Zora's mind raced. What other secrets had humanity left behind? And what did it mean for her people, and for the galaxy at large? They emerged into a vast, dimly lit chamber. As lights flickered on, the aliens gasped in unison. Before them stood row upon row of sleek, gleaming spacecraft, designs unlike anything they had ever seen before. "Behold," the custodian announced, its voice filled with pride. "Humanity's final gift to the universe, the means to follow in their footsteps, if you so choose." Zara stared at the ships, her hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The choice that lay before them was monumental. Would they take up humanity's mantle and venture into the unknown? Or would the risks be too great? As she turned to face her crew, she saw the same mixture of emotions reflected in their eyes. Whatever they decided, she knew their lives, and perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy, would never be the same again. Captain Zara and her crew stood in awe before the rows of gleaming spacecraft. The chamber was vast, stretching far beyond what their eyes could see. The custodian's holographic form floated nearby, its blue light casting a soft glow on the alien explorers. "These ships," Zara whispered, her forehands trembling with excitement, "they can travel between dimensions." The AI nodded. "Yes, Captain. These vessels represent the pinnacle of human engineering. They are capable of not only interstellar travel, but also of piercing the veil between realities." Crix, his tentacles waving in excitement, approached one of the ships. Its sleek, silver hull seemed to shimmer, as if it wasn't entirely solid. "How do they work?" he asked, his scientific curiosity overcoming his initial shock. The custodian's form shifted, and a holographic diagram appeared in the air. "The ships utilize a combination of technologies," it explained. "Quantum entanglement drives for faster-than-light travel within a single universe, and dimensional resonance engines for crossing between realities." The aliens listened intently as the AI delved into the specifics of the ship's operations. Much of it was beyond their current understanding, but they could grasp the basics. These vessels were far more advanced than anything their civilization had ever dreamed of. Lox, the furry biologist, raised a paw. "But are they safe? Crossing between dimensions sounds dangerous." The custodian's expression became serious. "You are correct to be cautious. Interdimensional travel is not without risks. Humanity spent centuries perfecting these ships and establishing safety protocols. But even then, there were incidents." A chill ran down Zora's spine. "What kind of incidents?" The AI hesitated for a moment before responding. "There were ships that never returned, crews lost in the void between realities, and in some cases, ships that came back, changed." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. The allure of advanced technology and the promise of exploration were tempting, but the dangers were clearly significant. Zara took a deep breath, her antenna twitching as she thought, "Can we examine one of the ships more closely?" The custodian nodded, and a nearby vessel's entry ramp lowered with a soft hiss. "Of course. Please, step aboard." The alien crew cautiously entered the ship. The interior was unlike anything they had ever seen. Smooth, organic curves blended seamlessly with advanced technology. Holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, responding to their presence. "The ships are partially alive," the AI explained as it followed them inside. "A symbiosis of organic and artificial intelligence. They can adapt to their crew's needs and even repair themselves to a certain extent." Zara ran one of her hands along a console, marveling at how it seemed to pulse gently under her touch. "It's incredible," she murmured. As they explored further, they found living quarters that could reshape themselves, a medical bay with technology that seemed almost magical, and an engine room that defied their understanding of physics. And humanity just left these here? Crix asked, his voice filled with disbelief. The custodian's hologram nodded. They hoped that one day another species would rise to the challenge, a species with the curiosity and courage to follow in their footsteps. Zara felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Her people had come seeking knowledge, but they had found so much more. The decision they faced now would shape the future of their entire civilization. "What if we're not ready?" she asked softly. The AI's expression softened. "That, Captain, is a question every species must answer for themselves. Humanity left these ships as a gift, but also as a test. The choice to use them, and to accept the risks that come with that choice, is yours alone." As they exited the ship, Zora looked out over the fleet once more. The possibilities seemed endless, but so did the potential dangers. She turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of excitement and apprehension in their eyes. "We need to report this to our homeworld," she said finally. "This discovery, it changes everything." The custodian nodded in agreement. "Take all the time you need, Captain. These ships have waited 500,000 years. They can wait a little longer." As the alien crew prepared to return to their own ship, each of them knew that nothing would ever be the same. They had come seeking traces of an ancient civilization, but they had found the key to the universe itself. The question now was, were they brave enough to use it? The journey back to Xalax, the home planet of Captain Zara and her crew, was filled with tense silence. Each member of the expedition was lost in thought, trying to process the monumental discovery they had made on Earth. As their ship, the Zephyr, entered Xalax's atmosphere, Zara took a deep breath. She knew that the news they brought would shake her world to its core. The landing pad was crowded with officials and curious onlookers. Word of the expedition's early return had spread quickly. As Zara and her crew disembarked, they were met with a mix of excitement and concern. Captain Zara, a tall, slender alien, stepped forward. It was Drek, the head of the Xalaxian Science Council. "We eagerly await your report. What did you find?" Zara looked at her crew, then back at Drek. "We found everything," she said simply. The next few days were a whirlwind of debriefings, presentations, and heated debates. Zara and her team shared everything they had learned about the long-vanished human civilization and the incredible technology they had left behind. The revelation of the interdimensional ships caused an uproar in the Xalaxian society. The Science Council was split. Some, like Drek, saw it as an unprecedented opportunity for advancement. "Think of what we could learn," Drek exclaimed during one particularly heated session. "This technology could revolutionize our understanding of the universe." Others, however, were more cautious. Vex, an elder scientist with pale blue skin, voiced her concerns. "But at what cost?" she asked. "These humans vanished without a trace. Who's to say we won't meet the same fate if we follow in their footsteps?" The debate raged on, not just in the council chambers, but across all of Xalax. Citizens gathered in public squares, arguing passionately about the path their civilization should take. Zara found herself at the center of it all. As the one who had made the discovery, everyone wanted to hear her opinion. But she felt torn. The explorer in her yearned to unlock the secrets of the human ships, to venture into the unknown. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled in her gut since they'd left Earth. One evening, as she stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city, Crix approached her. "Captain," he said softly, his tentacles moving gently in the evening breeze. "What do you think we should do?" Zara sighed. "I don't know, Crix. The potential benefits are enormous, but so are the risks." Crix nodded. "I've been analyzing the data we brought back," he said. "The technology in those ships, it's beyond anything we've ever seen. It would take us centuries, maybe millennia, to develop it on our own." "But is that a reason to use it?" Zara asked. or a reason to be cautious. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Locks. The furry biologist looked worried. "Have you seen the latest reports?" she asked. "Some of our more adventurous citizens are talking about mounting their own expedition to Earth. They want to claim the human technology for themselves." Zara's antenna twitched in alarm. That would be disastrous. They have no idea what they're dealing with. The next day, an emergency session of the Science Council was called. Zara stood before the assembled leaders of her world, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "We stand at a crossroads," she began. "Before us lies a path to knowledge and advancement beyond our wildest dreams, but it's a path fraught with danger and uncertainty." She paused, looking at each council member in turn. "The human technology offers us a shortcut to the stars and beyond. But we must ask ourselves, are we ready for it? Can we handle the responsibility that comes with such power?" The chamber was silent, every alien present hanging on her words. "I propose a compromise," Zora continued. "We accept the humans' gift, but we proceed with caution. We study the ships, we learn from them, but we do not launch any interdimensional expeditions until we fully understand the risks and how to mitigate them." Murmurs filled the chamber as the council members discussed her proposal. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it offered a middle ground between reckless advancement and fearful stagnation. As the debate continued, Zara knew that whatever decision they reached would shape the future of their entire civilization. The challenge laid down by humanity 500,000 years ago had been accepted. Now, it was up to the Xalaxians to prove themselves worthy of it. 5 years had passed since the fateful discovery on Earth. The Xalaxian civilization had been forever changed by the knowledge of humanity's legacy. After much debate and careful consideration, they had decided to embrace the challenge left behind by the long-vanished humans. Captain Zara stood in the newly constructed Interdimensional Research Center, her 4 arms crossed as she watched teams of scientists and engineers bustling about. The cavernous facility housed one of the human ships they had brought back from Earth. It was a hive of activity, with Xalaxians of all specialties working tirelessly to unravel its secrets. Crick slithered up beside her, his tentacles waving excitedly. "Captain," he said, "you won't believe the progress we've made. We finally cracked the basics of the quantum entanglement drive." Zara's antenna twitched with interest. "Really? That's fantastic news, Crix. How soon before we can test it?" "We're hoping to run our first full-scale test within the next month," Crix replied. "But that's not all. Come with me. There's something you need to see." He led Zara to a secluded part of the facility where Locks was waiting for them. The furry biologist was standing next to what looked like a large, shimmering bubble. "Is that?" Zara began, her eyes wide with amazement. Locks nodded, her fur rippling with excitement. "A miniature dimensional portal. We managed to create it using the principles we learned from the human ships." Zara watched in awe as the bubble pulsed and shifted, offering brief glimpses of what looked like alien landscapes. "It's incredible," she breathed. "Have we sent anything through yet?" "Only small probes so far," Crix explained. "We're still working on stabilizing it for larger objects, but the data we're getting back is, well, it's changing everything we thought we knew about the universe." As they discussed the implications of their discoveries, an alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Red lights flashed, and Xalaxians began running towards the main research area. "What's happening?" Zara shouted over the noise. "It's the ship." Crix yelled back, already moving. "Something's activated." They rushed to the chamber where the human ship was kept. As they entered, they saw it bathed in a soft, pulsing light. Symbols and diagrams were projected in the air around it, shifting and changing rapidly. Drek, the head of the Science Council, was already there, his long fingers dancing over a control panel. "It just started on its own," he explained hurriedly. "We think it's some kind of automated protocol." As they watched, the projected images coalesced into a single large display. It showed a map of sorts, but unlike anything they had ever seen. Instead of stars and planets, it depicted multiple realities, layered and interconnected in complex ways. "Is that?" Zara began. "A map of the multiverse," Crix finished, his voice filled with awe. "The humans must have created it during their explorations." Suddenly, a section of the map lit up, and a message appeared in an alien script that they had come to recognize as human language. Thanks to years of study, they could now read it. "Warning," Zara translated aloud. "Dimensional instability detected in Sector 7. Immediate investigation required." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just a map or a record of past explorations. It was a live feed, a network spanning multiple dimensions that was still active after 500,000 years. "They're still out there," Lox whispered. "The humans. They're still exploring." Zara felt a shiver run down her spine. The decision they had made 5 years ago suddenly felt small in comparison to what lay before them now. They weren't just inheriting humanity's legacy. They were being called to join an ongoing mission of cosmic importance. "Drek," Zora said, turning to the Science Council head. "How soon can we get a ship ready for interdimensional travel?" Drek looked at her in shock. "You can't be serious." "We're not ready for." "We don't have a choice," Zara interrupted. "Whatever is causing that instability could be a threat to multiple realities, including our own. We have to respond." As the gravity of the situation sank in, the Xalaxians in the chamber looked at each other with a mix of fear and determination. They had spent years preparing for this moment, yet now that it had arrived, they felt woefully unprepared. But as Zara looked at the shimmering map of realities, she felt a surge of excitement. This was why she had become an explorer. This was the ultimate journey. "Prepare a crew," she ordered. "We leave as soon as the ship is ready." The new chapter in the Xalaxian saga was about to begin, and with it, their true test as inheritors of humanity's legacy. The interdimensional ship Nova Horizon, crewed by Captain Zara, and her brave Xalaxian team, hung suspended in a void unlike anything they had ever seen. Swirling colors and shifting patterns surrounded them, defying the laws of physics as they knew them. "Status report," Zara commanded, her forearms gripping her chair tightly. Crix, his tentacles dancing over the control panel, responded, "All systems stable, Captain. The ship's AI confirms we've successfully crossed into the dimension indicated by the warning signal." Lox, monitoring the biological systems, added, "No adverse effects on the crew so far. It seems the human shielding technology is working perfectly." Zora nodded, her antenna twitching with a mix of anxiety and excitement. They had trained for years for this moment, but nothing could have truly prepared them for the reality of interdimensional travel. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain," Crix shouted, "we're detecting a massive energy surge directly ahead." Before Zora could respond, a blinding light filled their view screen. When it faded, they found themselves face to face with another ship, one that dwarfed their own in size and complexity. "By the stars," Lox whispered, "is that?" "A human vessel," Zora finished, her voice filled with awe. The ship before them was like nothing they had ever seen. It seemed to shimmer and shift, as if it wasn't fully present in any one dimension. Lights danced across its surface in intricate patterns, and energy fields pulsed around it in a hypnotic rhythm. A communication request pinged on their console. With a deep breath, Zora accepted the call. The view screen flickered to life, and for the first time, the Xalaxians found themselves face to face with a living, breathing human. The human was tall, with smooth skin and a head full of flowing hair. Its two eyes widened in surprise as it took in the alien crew. "Well," the human said, its voice translated smoothly by their systems, "this is unexpected. I'm Captain Elon of the Earth ship Infinity Seeker. May I ask who you are and how you came to be here?" Zara stood, drawing herself up to her full height. "I am Captain Zora of the Xalaxian ship Nova Horizon. We came here following a warning signal about dimensional instability in this sector. Captain Elon's eyebrows rose in surprise. The beacon. It's still active after all this time. Fascinating. The human's expression turned serious. Captain Zara, I'm not sure you realize the gravity of the situation you've walked into. The instability in this sector is not a natural phenomenon. It's the result of a war that has been raging across multiple dimensions for what you would consider millennia. The Calaxian crew exchanged shocked glances. This was far beyond anything they had anticipated. A war? Zara asked. Against whom? Captain Elon's face darkened. We call them the Void Eaters. They're a race of beings that exist between dimensions, feeding off the energy of collapsing realities. We've been fighting to contain them, to prevent them from spreading to other dimensions, like yours. The implications hit Zora like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just left to explore. They had become guardians of the multiverse itself. How? How can we help? Zara found herself asking, even as part of her mind screamed at the sheer audacity of the offer. What could her small crew possibly do in a war of this scale? To her surprise, Captain Elon smiled. You already have, Captain Zara. By coming here, by taking up the challenge we left behind, you've proven that your species has the courage and the capability to join us in this fight. The human captain's expression became solemn. I won't lie to you. The path ahead is dangerous, and there's no guarantee of success. But if we stand together, if we combine the best of both our civilizations, we have a chance to save not just our own realities, but countless others. Zora looked back at her crew, seeing the mix of fear and determination in their eyes. They had come seeking knowledge and adventure. Instead, they had found a war for the fate of all existence. But as she turned back to the screen, to the human captain waiting patiently for their response, Zara felt a surge of pride and purpose. This was why humanity had left their legacy. This was the true test they had been preparing for. With a firm nod, Zara spoke the words that would change the course of Salaxian history forever. Captain Elon, on behalf of the Salaxian people, we accept your call to arms. Let our civilization stand united against the darkness. And so, in the space between realities, a new alliance was forged, one that would shape the destiny of the multiverse for eons to come.